I was replacing a neck on a Stratocaster for a friend of mine. He had purchased a used but in mint condition all-parts neck that had a Tusq XL nut and a rosewood fretboard. On his Stratocaster, I think that all it had was a Pau Ferro fretboard, and he wanted the more traditional rosewood. I pulled his old neck off, and I installed the new neck. So then reinstalled the strings. When I went to go ahead and intonate his guitar, for the life of me, I could not intonate his guitar. Couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. So just for the hell of it, I set his old neck side by side with the new neck, and I discovered that the new neck was considerably shorter, basically about 1.5 inches shorter. Never thought to check the scale length of the guitar neck that I was installing. The hill shape, pocket width, and bolt pattern were all the same. Basically, he had somehow ended up with a 24-inch scale length neck for either a Mustang or a Jaguar guitar. Me, I just look at it, and when you do not have a labeled headstock, you, I guess, really need to pay better attention. What was cool, though, is I just happened to have an all-parts neck with a rosewood fretboard that actually was in 25.5-inch scale for a Stratocaster, so I traded him. I had just recently purchased a used Alder Warmoth Mustang body in Olympic white. I paid $324 for the used body on Reverb. I always like to, whenever I buy a Warmoth body, I always go to their website and I take the specifications of the body that I bought and I kind of build it out to see how much it would cost me used to see if I'm actually getting a good deal. When I priced out the body new, it would have cost me about $450 plus shipping to have the body built for me by Warmoth. I'm really starting to like Warmoth bodies. I've recently purchased 3 used Warmoth bodies, all on Reverb, and they have all been top-notch bodies in every aspect: quality, fit and finish, and weight. I wanted this body because it has a universal pickup cavity routing that basically would allow me to install all sorts of pickups and pickup combinations. Like I could install the standard single coil pickups, P90s, humbuckers, you name it, and combinations of those. I just would need to have the pickguard. The other thing that was cool was it was a hardtail string-through body that was routed to use, of all things, a Fender Squier Toronado bridge. I like these bridges. I like how they look, except for having the saddle intonation adjustment screws under this lip, so it makes it a little bit of a challenge to adjust the screws when you're trying to set intonation. Well, at least it kind of does for me. I was going to install a set of humbuckers in a Mustang. I've never done that before, but I ultimately had issues getting a pickguard. It was going to cost me about $150, $160 for the pickguard, and I didn't feel like spending that. Ultimately, I ended up spending that anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. I found a standard Mustang pickguard in my parts. It was brand new, still had the plastic protective cover on it, and I also already had the control plate for the electronics cavity. I might, maybe later on, if I get another Mustang body, I might use this body later if I get a pickguard made with the humbucker size pickup holes, because I'd like to have the little switches at the top, but actually controlling humbuckers. I think that would be kind of cool, but I decided for now I was just going to go traditional. I had recently sold off my last Mustang guitar. I keep doing that, and then it's kind of strange. I find myself wanting one again. So I find myself kind of in this strange cycle. I should probably just end up keeping one. I needed to order the parts for the wiring harness as well as the pickups to do this project. I ordered a true custom shop wiring kit for a Mustang. I'd done my research and I found purchasing the same exact parts individually would cost me the following. The knobs were about $11.49. The 2 solid shaft 250K pots, CTS for $17. The 3-position Switchcraft slide switches, the 2 of them were, the best price I could find were $14.70 for the pair. That was actually pretty cheap. Switchcraft jack with nut and washer, $8. About $6.69 for the .047 microfarad orange drop tone capacitor. And then miscellaneous wire. The wire would be like $3. So altogether, it would cost me, if I bought the parts individually, like $60.88 plus shipping. The True Custom Shop wiring kit for a Mustang on Reverb, I only paid $47 for it, so it seems like a pretty good deal. Next, I wanted a good set of pickups. I had ordered a set of tone hatch pickups for $69, but then I saw on their website how long the turnaround time was, and I can be an impatient bastard when it comes to things. And sometimes you can replace the word impatient with stupid. They're kind of interchangeable. They were going to take 2 to 3 weeks to be made and shipped due to basically the Thanksgiving holiday. I really wanted to build out the guitar now, and I really didn't feel like waiting for the tone hatch pickups, even though I had already ordered them. I broke down and ordered a set of the Seymour Duncan Antiquity pickups, which in my prior experience with buying them and installing them in a guitar, they sound pretty great. They also carry, though, a $218 per set price tag. I searched for a used set, but I couldn't find any for sale on Reverb or eBay. Being not able to find a used set of pickups is usually a pretty good sign that they're good pickups. To me, it means that people install them. They're usually happy with them. As a result, they probably leave them in their guitars. I will use the tone hatch pickups in another project in the future. Like, I really need motivation to do another build. So, sorry, I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. I recently had someone in the comments make a comment about that when I build a Mustang, that I'm just building a toy guitar that an adult male would not be able to play comfortably, and they really kind of questioned why I would do that. I'm a 6'3" guy, and I have no issues playing a Mustang. Here's what I think. If the statement that the person made was actually true, then the following statement would also have to be true as well. Mandolins and ukuleles are too small for an adult-sized male to play. We all know that they are actually easily played by adult-sized males, including me. I realized that Mustangs were originally designed to be a student or guitar for a smaller frame person like a woman, but they fit me really well, and I actually enjoy playing them when I'm not selling them. There are a lot of grown men that play Mustangs, and me being one of them. I always enjoy building out a vintage style Mustang circuit with the 2 control pods and then, the 2 3-way slider switches. The circuit's fairly straightforward and simple. To me, it's a lot easier to actually wire than, let's say, a Jaguar. Also, the pickups that I installed, the 2 Seymour Duncan pickups, I was really surprised and happy that when I plugged them into my amplifier that they just sound tonally great. I mean, they have great lows, mids, and highs, just really kind of perfect balance. The person who had owned this body before had painted the inside of the pickup routed cavity with conductive paint, and with the pickups the way they're situated, with their polarity to each other, the guitar is actually pretty quiet when it's plugged in. There's a little bit of a hum, but overall it just sounds excellent. And those pickups also, just drive a distortion or overdrive pedal really, really well. And it really makes for a great rock and roll and punk guitar.